We're talking about Dominica's development and the social, the political, the economic
prospects of
life and what can be done to improve.
That's it.
And the discussion became even, or has become even more relevant due to the fact that we are not too sure what is going to happen with in terms of our CBI program, and also the war which is currently going on between Russia and Ukraine. So we have reasons to be concerned, and but I see we are at the juncture where we have to really take things seriously. And Dominicans, I believe, should not just sit idly by and just wait for things to happen and hoping that things should happen. We have to take issues more seriously. But I see we should have started by, as we always do, extend our sympathies to those who may have lost their loved ones. I understand that Brother Austin Bell was buried this afternoon. I was not aware that the burial was this afternoon. Today, or else I would have attended. But again, we want to wish his wife and his children and the rest of his family, we want to extend our deepest condolences to them.
Absolutely.
I am not aware of, beside last week, or from last week, I'm not aware of any public officer who has passed on. But I know that we had a homicide, and we want Brother Steve to extend our heartfelt sympathies to the relatives of this Chinese gentleman who was murdered. But yes, I also understand that the body of Mr. Etienne from Campbell was discovered. And in the past few weeks, Brother Steve, we have been having some disturbances as far as crimes are concerned.
Yes.
And maybe during our discussion this evening, we can talk on that and see how we can link it to the discussion.
Yes.
What can we do? And because the reduction, the control of crime and violence has a lot to do with your development.
That's right, security.
That is also important. But friends, I mean, for the longest while, the union and a number of people like Afi Martin and people like Thompson Fontaine, and the list goes on and on. We have all been expressing our concern about the CBI and making an appeal for the CBI funds to be used in investment. And there are a lot of things that this country could have developed. We could have instituted a lot of projects, put a lot of things in place, things that are sustainable, had we used the CBI money to do some of those things. I understand there is a consultation, I just heard a little of it, about agriculture. But the question is, when we had all the funds, and we could have done quite a bit, what did we do? But let's see, before I ask you to come on, I see we have a first caller. I suspect who it is, but...
Usual?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, caller. Thank you for calling.
Good evening, Senator.
As our co-host,
I know,
outside co-host.
I know he can be anywhere else except with us.
Good evening, Brother Steve.
Good evening, sister.
I thought you all didn't have a program tonight. I thought you all gave the time to Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin trying to build back agriculture.
Oh, okay.
I thought Mr. Putin was in Russia.
I thought...
Putin is here, there, and everywhere, all about.
I could almost say someone was listening to our program last week, so So this week,
Oh, yeah.
they're responding.
Yes,
Very
yes.
well.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thank you, my dear. Nice having you.
Yes.
Brother Steve.
Yes, Brother Lita, and you raised some very pertinent points there that's very significant. That we can't put all our eggs in one basket, and I know the government will rebuttal and say a lot of effort went into rebuilding after Erica and Maria, and we saw investment in housing and hotels. But Brother, when you have a small island developing state like Dominica with a very fragile economy, exposed to so many external shocks, to disasters, to what's happening in the global environment, you have to ensure that you have, when you get the opportunity to have foreign exchange through an opportunity that the CBI program provided us, that we build on what Dominica has as its natural resource. And we said that last week: water, fertile land, agriculture. One can take from what happened after Ivan devastated Grenada in 2010, and how they looked at a niche market for soursop, Brother Lita, because the research shows that there's so many benefits. And so while they have moved a little away from banana production, but they have another cash crop in soursop, and we could have done that. But to really build those sectors, the government have to provide leadership and the framework for inclusion, for recognizing best practices, and not just for the people that support the government, because there are people who are big farmers, who are producing at high levels, who have the expertise, who's trying to sustain markets almost on their own, and they are not included in the dialogue. From time to time, they are contacted to possibly have people visit their farms to take a few photographs. But when to influence the conversation on the policy direction and investment opportunities, they're excluded because they may not be part of the fraternity. And so we have to recognize we are all Dominicans. And there are people in critical sectors in Dominica, in business, in the public sector, in agriculture, that have knowledge, experience, and a vision for what should happen in those particular sectors. I see we have a few callers.
Yes, we have a overseas line, so let's see that very early. Good evening. Thank you for calling, caller. Oh boy,
good afternoon, good evening.
Early bats, man.
Yeah, you save yourself at the
Brother Lita, I told you I would be waiting,
That's good, or else you would have had to come back to school on Saturday for your detention.
To save your detention.
Yeah, but I'm early and I'm on time. And from the time I heard the phone ring, Lucy, let me say good afternoon to Lucy. I know it was Lucy. That's our fans. Brother Steve say our outside co-host.
That's correct.
Yeah, but Brother Lita, on a more serious note, I was so happy when your show switched on, because I like in 2022 they want to start a discussion about agriculture, Brother Lita.
Yeah.
2022, after 20 years in government, you're going to start agriculture in Dominica. Yeah. Dominica, the land of many rivers, and good soil. You're going to start talking about agriculture. But I'll let you know how many programs I listened to carefully on Q95 with the professionals, not politicians, because politicians could only politics. They are not professionals, Brother Lita. You understand? They have to have a vision and put the necessary program, the plans in place and let the professionals deal with what they are trained to do.
Correct.
You understand? For example, look at an example, brother, later. But let's take banana, for example. Banana was green gold, ruling from the WTO, the World Trade Organization. They removed the preference we had on our bananas. But we could still compete. And as I said before, St. Lucia still selling bananas, and it's still selling bananas. Okay. Now England have withdrawn from the European Union. Right? The last time I checked, I think England they had declared to withdraw. They don't want to be a part of the European Union. So now we could go back to England and have a direct bilateral relationship with England with our bananas, because the ruling was on the European Union market.
That's a good
but
point.
That doesn't mean we cannot forge other market. For example, France, St. Vincent is now exporting bananas and plantain to France.
Yeah.
So, I say all this to say, I think what we really need in Dominica is a national plan, apart from the politician and the political parties' plan, because they always have a plan and program they'll tell you for you to vote for them. But apart from that, all these different groups, different political parties, different organizations should participate in a national plan. So it doesn't matter which government that is or which administration in power, they could continue. But that is what I say we're lacking in Dominica, the continuity in governance. You have some good programs and you lose the election, another one come, they abandon all the good things you had, they just break everything now and want to start over. It shouldn't be so, brother, later.
I agree.
You understand? There should be a national plan, a vision. All of us know the priorities of the country, and all this administration has to do is manage the affairs of state honestly, without favor, without ill will, treat everybody respect. We should have a national where the unions and the churches, the politicians themselves, all the different organizations, the professional, and let us put a national plan in place. And irrespective of which government in power, that plan should continue, because we know we have water, we could work on exporting our water.
Absolutely.
We have soil. We have soil. We could try to develop our agro-processing plants, and but that business of to show to from, that doesn't make sense. As Lucille said, Putin right now, I was so happy when you come. I don't want to hear that. I want to see result. Result. It's not just talk. We talk. There's a time you need result. You need the right people in the right places, irrespective of which political side they're on, what church they go to. You could do the job. You are qualified. You deserve it. You have the commitment. Your passion is there. Let you do the job. It doesn't matter which you red, you blue, you green. We have to narrow we have to broaden our mentality, man. Right now I'm getting sick of that, all that fussing and fighting, and we're
That's right.
we're not moving at all. Anyway,
Okay, Colin,
thank you.
But I think, Colin, you have made some very good
points. Yeah.
And
I was saying it just started, and I'm in the front row, so I could always raise up my hand.
all right. At the end of the day,
thank you. If I have a question, thank you.
Your grade will be high, believe me.
Yes.
But let's see, he has made some good points.
Absolutely.
And there are three things I want to comment on the things that he has said. This thing about a national plan.
Yeah.
In other words, you come up with something, you involve everybody. But let's face it. I mean, how happy all of us as Dominicans, myself, you, and many others, we see a number of people who have in the past make recommendation or voice their opinion on certain matters, and they are viewed as being anti-government and so on.
That's right.
But how much relief would it be if there is a consultation and you would hear that people who have been perceived as being anti-government, that they get their own invitation to be part of those consultations. And, we demonstrate that we want to listen to the people. Let us call the affirmatives together.
Yeah.
Let us call the Bernard Wilshires and many of the other people who have over the years
brilliant sons of the soil and
sons and daughters of the soil. There is a consultation, and you extend an invitation to them to come and make a contribution.
That's right.
A consultation should not be people who are handpicked
that's the point.
Because of who they support.
Correct.
I mean, once we go that way, the results of that consultation, I don't know what it's going to be.
Well, that's the inclusion I spoke about. You have to bring in Dominicans. We are all Dominicans. And so you will hear them defend by saying, but we have a national plan, we have a national development resilience strategy, we have a climate recovery.
But input from who?
But who informed that plan? Was it written by government functionaries and the World Bank? How much of Dominicans and the professionals in Dominicans, the proven sons of the soil, participated in that process? And how do we then extract sector plans from that national plan? So drill down on agriculture, drill down on water and what should happen, and you begin to get the ideas from the people.
It's just like when we speak of resilience.
Yeah, that's right.
You get the impression that all we're talking about is climate.
It's climate, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but we should have a national resilience program, and climate resilience
should be part of it.
Should be part of that.
I
think this is the way we have to go. Yeah. The other point that the caller made is now that England is no longer part of the European Union.
Mm-hmm.
Had we really paid the kind of attention we should have paid to our banana industry,
right,
and do not allow it just to disappear.
Correct.
Maybe by now, Brother Steve, would be the right time for us to forge some kind of arrangement with England, where England can go back to the days where they used to import
bananas from
us. So I think
because we have high quality.
So I really want to compliment the caller for those points. Very, very good points, caller. Very, very good point. Let's take this one. Caller, good evening, and thank you so much for calling. You're on. Please go ahead and make a point.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
That I'm not sure exactly what happened, what is going on this afternoon. But I just laughed at it. I'm sorry to be saying that. Because to me that was just a mockery on agriculture. Gentlemen, remember when this government came into office and they just focused on selling passports to develop the economy of this country? Which one of them said, if it's not passport, what? Was it the Prime Minister who said that? If it's not passport, what?
I see.
And today you have in an agricultural, whatever it is, to talk about developing agriculture. Huh? When these guys came into office, remember the Gizbot are still coming in every week, When they would take bananas to England, they would also leave with coconuts and breadfruit to England. Remember that, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Of course.
Coconut. Baba Butler himself sent so much coconuts to England. All right? Plus the marketing board, agricultural division. And breadfruit and plantain were going to the United Kingdom. And today we have really and truly, the audience today at that symposium or whatever they call it, were handpicked. Why didn't they go to Granby or Marigot or La Plaine or one of those places to have that, whatever it is that was in today on agriculture? And they have killed agriculture.
Yeah.
This Labour Party government has killed agriculture, and just not agriculture alone, many industries, even manufacturing. Where is Kubuli? Where is Kubuli? Kubuli left. Which one again?
Hello.
So many of them just disintegrated, they're gone. As soon as this party came into office, and you have Dominicans sitting down at that thing and say, well, as there is a big thing that's happening in agriculture. Agriculture will come back under this regime. Jamais.
All right, thank you very much, caller.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling. I was about to make a point, brother Steve. I just
It slipped you.
Yeah, but yeah, again. Yes, this called a consultation. I think what we need, brother Steve, is a number of district consultations, and then it could end up into a national consultation, because in every district you have issues, and while many of them are similar, but it varies. What might work, and if you're talking about development, brother Steve, what might work well in one area? Okay, let's look at Scotshead, for example. That is a village that has a lot of potential for tourism. When you look at a place like Grand Bay, culture, rich in culture.
Yes.
But how do we capitalize? What is happening in that community? What national event is happening in that community, so that the rich culture that exists in that area can be used to really maybe boost our tourism industry and so on and so forth.
Yes, yes.
Right? When you look at the Kalinago territory, for example, I mean, you feel so proud when you travel to boast of the fact that we still have
indigenous people,
the Kalinago people in our community. But let's see, beside a bus, stopping there and buying some crafts from the people in those communities. What happened? What else happened?
But brother, there are some unique products that
the herbs
that the Kalinago people have survived on, their way of life, that could have been built on. Because part of our challenge is the leadership provided, the professional involvement to guide processes, and I'm going to talk into that because that's a public officers come in, and the packaging and marketing. So cassava, my brother Lita, that is very indigenous to the Kalinago, should be on international shelves.
Correct.
All right? The farine
well packaged.
should be well packaged professionally, and that should be on international shelves throughout the region and throughout the world. You know, all the local herbs, the spices and so on. And that would create economic activity, not only in the Kalinago territory, because we can do that all through the country. But I'm saying these are unique products that these people survived on. So it's not just to celebrate that they are with us and they're still around, but to harness the potential that is around Kalinago people. Let's take another call.
Yeah, let's take another call, brother. Thank you for calling. Caller, good evening to you.
I say praises, thanks, blessings, and glory to all those with humanity. Steve,
Yeah, man.
Blessings to you all and your families.
Blessings, man.
Nice to hear your voice,
you.
my brother.
Yeah,
nice to hear your voice. We are so happy.
These days I pick and choose, my programs because, to tell you the truth, some intellectuals and some haters think, well, I am dominating the airwaves, so I try to limit my engagement.
You can't please everybody.
No, that's a way of trying to keep you quiet, and I always say I don't buy that. Nobody tells me if I'm talking too much or I'm not talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No.
I listened, and according to a previous caller, it's just pure mockery. It's almost like a gloating. I'm rejoicing of my successes and frowning at yours, Yeah, look at them. Okay, now, what are you asking for? Thomas Litter, Steve, Arundel, Afimate, the parliamentary opposition, Whitnell Louis, with Mr. Louis Robinson, who Dr. Dale Dongoben, who haven't advocated for agriculture to be focused on not putting all our eggs in one basket. Who have not spoken about it? Even they themselves paying lip service to it for 20 and odd years. But there was a minister that was sincere enough. He said it has been put on the back burner. And there was a Syrian or Lebanese migrant who established themselves there. He said agriculture is a has-been
industry.
It once existed, but now it has been in the dustbin. Not just a has-been, they put it in the dustbin. Every thief, every criminal, every devil is a psychologist, because you can fool people, steal their money, come pretend, lie, play games with them. All of a sudden people say, oh, you're a psychologist. You're just a criminal. And it is sad to see. I listened, Mr. Later, from the beginning until all you came in, and I hear nobody focus on farm roads, Mr. Later.
Yes.
A place they call Atley in the Layo Valley, under the previous administration. Mr. Later, they pitch from the main road almost to a place they call Chapara. I used to do a lot of farming that time while my own always in bush, and Mr. Later, tourists were coming, the drivers, the taxi drivers were bringing tourists way up there. Mr. Later, if you go to Atley today, you need a good four-wheel transport.
I know the area, you know. I know the area you're talking about. I know that.
My God, if the road is in a dilapidated state, and these are deliberate, you know, all the farm roads in Dominica. You hear them talk about Monkey Hill, and for years you hear people will stop complaining about farm roads because very few people are farming, Mr. Later.
Exactly.
That is true.
People run away from the farm and go into security, Mr. Later.
Because the Haitians are on the farm now.
It's more Haitians. People give their lands because the Haitians will buy all four-wheel and all kind of thing and carry all the load and all of that to do farming. So when you disempower a people, you impoverish them. And that is what these criminals that claim they're psychologists and they're doctor this, doctor that, and they're former priests and they're lawyers, they're passport sellers and wheelers and dealers. That is what those people understand, you know, have us eaten from their hands. And in closing, the golden eggs collector finally lost his golden goose that laid his golden egg. So now he's looking for the gander, which is the farmers. So the farmers have to learn these ganders have to learn to lay golden eggs. Because if not, that owner of the goose and the gander will be under too much pressure. So now, that farmer in his desperation fall back on the gander. He said, it's only the goose that can lay golden eggs. So the gander was neglected. He put all his golden eggs in one basket. No! It appeared that it is going to crash, Mr. Later. He wants to force the ganders to lay golden egg by 2030 to make $600 million. Give me a chance, criminals.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Let me say hi, Brother Steve.
Blessings.
Brother Joseph Raphael, watching all the way from the United States. Sister Paula Lope.
Usual.
Alan Pierre.
Usual.
And my brother Chris Clay.
Yes.
Let me just say hello to...
I see my aunt watching all the way from the States as well. Good evening, Auntie.
Good evening to all of them. Okay, let's take our overseas line. Caller, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Good evening, Mr. Later, and to Steve.
My friend, how are you doing?
Good evening.
All right, when you open up, I'm doing good, man. When you open up, you say you expected some of your favorite callers and what do you call it? One of their favorite show? Well, I'm one of your favorite listeners.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
But I listened to my brother from Salisbury.
Yeah.
Mr. Shillingford.
Right.
Then I listened to my brother Blessing
Right.
and couple others. And I thought while I was listening to that Koshani program, I was by myself. But from the remarks I've heard, including a couple of you guys, Steve said somebody must have been listening to him last week. Well, Steve, they always listen.
I'm sure.
And the sad part is they never take the advice of the people.
Correct.
Brothers, let me tell you something, and I say it many times again. If you own a bakery, right? And you're a businessman, you're not a baker, you're just a businessman. But you're going to hire a bakery. I mean, a baker.
Yeah.
You don't bake bread, right? Who you going to ask how the bread is baked, what goes in the bread? The baker.
The baker, yeah.
Right?
That's right.
You might be the businessman, and there hence my argument. The leader of the country is just the leader of the country. He does not know everything. He don't know farming, he don't know finance, he don't know this, that, and the other. And we're not going to go down the line of things. So what best to do is what he has done today, this afternoon. Hear from the people who has the will and the know-how to make food or produce food for the country, which is one aspect of having a nation, right? Number two, my take on what's taking place right now is a distraction. Okay? The last week, this past week here, they just signed a deal, a passport deal with Syria. The week before that, they sent out a letter and say, don't give out any passport to Russia when 2 weeks ago when the war break out. Okay? So now the man is seeing the time is drawing nigh. The clock on the wall is ticking and he see he hasn't done much or nothing. So now, all of a sudden, here comes the savior. Okay, we gonna farm. And he's trying to create a distraction, take the people's mind off of what's taking place now with all this passport sale to Russia and all these people, because the European looking at him, the American looking at him, and now he's trying to wiggle his way out of it and distract the people, take the people's attention from the real issues. Because after this couple weeks that just gone by, when you see the real time settle and the dust settle, he's don't forget all about farming. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, any one of his apologists could call and correct me, because that's what they do. They wait until everybody calls and say their piece, then they call and they want to take over your show with the comments, and they want to take over my show. They want everybody, because all of a sudden they're defending. The man has a mouth. Let him speak for himself. Stop defending. But I'm listening, brothers. Interesting tonight.
Thank you very much. Brother Steve, the fact that the caller made mention of Syria.
Yes.
If we're talking about development, Brother Steve, even who we establish relationship with,
That's right.
to me is very important.
Correct.
Because based on who you establish relationship with, and if that country has a repressive regime, as is the case with Syria, that itself can sort of shake your relationship with other countries that do not have a good relationship with Syria, for example.
Yeah.
My question this evening, and I hope the Minister of Foreign Affairs or somebody from Foreign Affairs could answer.
Yeah.
What would prompt a country to establish relationship with another country? One, I believe you would have some of your own nationals living in that country. So you'd want to establish some kind of relationship so that attention
can be given
to
your citizens.
To your citizens. Their concerns can be adequately and promptly addressed, and so on. You recognize that there is something that this country can contribute to your own development.
That's right.
But in the case of Syria, my problem is, what kind of relationship, what do we expect to gain from Syria? Which Dominican is going to Syria anyway? That kind of environment that exists in Syria. Which country, which Dominican want to go to Syria? You understand? What is it that Syria can give to us?
Yeah.
How are we going to benefit? You know, when you establish, these are the kind of things you have to say to us.
Yes, yes.
What are the benefits to be derived by having a relationship with Syria?
Well, some of our leaders in the region and some of the foreign affairs ministers will tell you, well, we're seeking to be friends of all, satellite of none. But maybe Berlita, you're asking a very fundamental question to the Minister of Foreign Affairs to come and explain to the nation the premise and the benefits to be derived from forging that bilateral relationship with Syria. And I mean, it's making its round in the news. We live in a democracy. Maybe we have a right to ask questions and to get answers from the government, from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But later, before you take that call, I wanted to ask a couple of questions, because fundamental to a strong economy is a strong public service. Mm-hmm. A public service, when you depend on the professionals to guide processes. I would wonder how deep is the Ministry of Agriculture in the planning, in the conceptualization, planning and execution of this afternoon's activity. Because, Brother Lita, some of the highly trained professionals in agriculture are not even in agriculture, leading agriculture at this present time. I know of PSCs, present PSCs, they're training in agriculture, and they are not in that ministry. How do you align professionals to provide leadership and advice? It appears as though politicians are taking the lead on everything.
Yep.
And the public sector professionals who are supposed to lead on those activities.
They are backstage.
Yeah.
Caller, good evening. Thanks for calling.
Good evening.
Oh, we are getting a bad feedback.
We're not hearing you clearly at all.
Feedback. We're not hearing you clearly at all. Oh, God. Okay, go ahead now. Hello? Hello, caller. Please go ahead. Okay, just try again. Something's wrong with your line. Let's take this one. Caller, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Yes, good evening, Brother Lita, and good evening, Brother Steve.
Good evening.
Brother Lita and Brother Steve, you all have been saying something for many years now, and today I prove it's true. Today I'm listening to a forum that the Prime Minister is having with the farmers. And then a question was posed. There was a lady, I think she's a Huxer, and she said right now in Antigua, Dominica have a market there for avocados, and they cannot supply because Dominica have no avocados. If the government had listened to people like you and Brother Steve, Dominica would be full of avocados today. Because just now it's 5 years since Hurricane Maria blew.
All those things will be
an avocado tree will bear for you in at least 2.5 years,
Correct.
3 years.
Correct.
That's right.
So what you were saying is true. Secondly, Brother Lita and Brother Steve, I keep calling this station for a long time and telling you all, people who condone a one-party state and people who don't want any opposition, I told you all what kind of people they are. And right now, I prove it's true because my Prime Minister and his ambassador have gone to join diplomatic relationship with one of the biggest murderers in the whole world. Good night and thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller. Good night, good night. Let's take this one, Brother Steve. The lines are blinking, man, so let's take this one.
Yeah.
Caller, good evening. Thanks for calling.
Am I clear now?
Oh,
Yes.
very, very.
Very clear.
I really thought Kerry was going to speak about what's happening in the news, his relationship, the agreement they signed with Syria. I thought it's that he was going to talk to the people of Dominica about, and what the how you call them, the world leaders, the world people like Americans are talking about the CBI passport thing. I thought it's that Skirt was going to speak about. I didn't know Skirt was going to speak about agriculture. Agriculture was a has-been. How come agriculture become now? Because he started hearing people speaking about agriculture. So Skerrit looking for a scapegoat. That's all Skerrit was looking for there tonight. And giving people loan for agriculture. Skerrit people doesn't need loan. People need grant.
Yes.
People are going to plant right now. It's grand they need.
Agriculture has to be subsidized, yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
they don't
yep,
need,
yeah.
they don't need loan. Around
right.
the world, people giving it's grants.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
And them people are there with Scary to tell Scary that not loan. And the farmers, if they take that loan, I think they're wicked to themselves. Bye-bye.
Thank you, caller. Yes, yes. I was about to make a point, but let me
let's
hold it back a
take
little
that caller.
and take our overseas line. Caller, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Begin with potato salad, coleslaw, baked macaroni, pasta, salad, rice, colony, coffee, toast, two slices,
Hello?
$10 up to.
Well,
Hello, good evening, Dominica, good evening.
Oh, okay. Good evening.
we
good
could not
evening.
understand what you were saying, man. All right, go ahead.
Now I'm a serving customer. You see the effort I'm making in Dominica. I'm serving my customers, but I say I have to call.
Okay.
Here we go, scare it again with another trick. It is pure trick. He gets the money from Iran or wherever he go there, Syria, to blackmail Dominica. He want to take the attention away from what happened on the international stage. But you can't run away from the fact that Syrians, only thing they export is terrorists. Scary go to Syria only because to protect himself, to hide his money. It's because of greed. We don't have no benefit in Syria. My boy, all what I see, we're in trouble, and there is a prime minister who is desperate, who trying to gain support from Dominicans. He blindfolding Dominicans to get to what he wants. The truth remains, even though we go into agriculture now and we do have a good relationship with the West, our product will not go nowhere. We cannot do without America. And I really disappointed in the opposition. We should have protest and make a serious statement. What Skerrit does to Dominica, the signature he sent, is on behalf of Skerrit and not behalf of the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. I believe Skerrit do that to protect himself, continue to get money under the table. And the trick about it, go back and give them 10% and 90% for him and his friends. Dominica, we're in trouble. It's just a gimmick. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you. Let me just read, Brother Steve, a comment.
A couple comments. Yeah.
Comment here. Somebody said the promotion of our culture has been placed on the back burner. Currently, the cultural capital cannot even boast of that title anymore because the powers that be neglected to tap into the skills and talents of the people. Where has our pride gone to? What is happening to a culture we were so proud of? People are now blinded by little handouts. They are afraid of standing for what they were once so passionate about. I hope we can salvage what is left before it is too late. And this person, I know, was a very, very active member of Tradibel. And really, you know, interested in the culture.
Of course.
But Brother Steve, that is how it is.
That's another aspect.
We take another caller.
Yeah.
Yes, let me see. Okay, it's stop blinking.
Yes. We say good evening to Augustus. Luis, Bo, I see you watching here.
Bo is watching.
And
yes.
My aunt in Portsmouth, Medora, is watching.
Yeah,
so we have our usual and some new persons tuning in. Lovely.
All right, that is so good, Brother Steve. Let me just break it with a little something.
Yes, sir. The only tune that I could play was Ride a Donkey. Not just for me.
Thank you for calling and good evening to you.
Good night, Brother Steve and Brother Rita.
Good evening,
sir.
Mais changer, il te dit que tu as gagné des bottes, pas yon qui vini. C'est all also, c'est tout ce qu'il a fait.
2 boats.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Pas yon qui vini. You know you get it too, but bring one. God have mercy. God bless you.
Your caller, thank you so much.
I know.
What's my major key?
Good evening, caller. Thank you for calling.
You still going to have to call again, you know. You see that statement that last caller just made?
Mm-hmm.
You know, our farmers, I mean, you know, I'm not sure exactly what is it they're getting or they're expect to get from this government, and in particular the Prime Minister, that is just afraid of acting and talking. Because we remember also Mr. Ian Douglas was so forceful on the radio.
Passionate about the boats.
You know, and you should have heard him. It's like the boats are coming the following day.
Yeah, they even gave a date, yes, a time.
How many years now?
But years.
Years.
And it was part of the manifesto.
That is right. The Prime Minister himself, I mean, these guys have made so many promises. And
You can't just buy boat without the products to sell.
Of things that you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, gentlemen, I am very, very, very sad to say it. But when there are going to be a lot of retirees now from the public service.
Oh yeah.
A lot of retirees.
Yeah, go in.
And the new employees that are coming in now are handpicked, seem to be handpicked labor supporters. All right? Selected labor supporters. So, you know it is going to affect your union. Because they will be very reluctant and maybe even told by this government, as long as it's in office, do not join PSU. So you know it's going to have an effect on PSU. All right?
Yeah.
That's my word.
Okay.
Thank you,
caller. But let's see, and while you're on that, we are aware of what is happening at the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School.
Yes.
And we have some members down there. But at the same time, we recognize the presence of the DAT.
Yes.
And therefore, we want to be very careful as to how we address that situation.
Correct.
But definitely, Brother Steve, and I don't think we are hurting any union if we say so, that we extend our solidarity.
Absolutely.
To the struggle down there. And somebody very, very senior public officer called me today and said, what is the union supporting? So I said to the person, the fact that we recognize that there was unfairness and there was an act of injustice meted out to a member of staff, it is our responsibility to lend our support to the fact that the staff are expressing their concern.
Yeah.
And they are requesting an audience with the permanent secretary.
And they should be heard.
And that they should be heard.
That's it.
You understand? Because, Brother Steve, as far as I'm aware, the lady in question was not recommended for the position. Although
she acted for years.
She carried out the responsibilities for years, while she was not officially acting because as the deputy, because she did not have any letter from the Public Service Commission.
Correct.
But the fact is she was carrying out the responsibilities of that position. She is qualified for the position and experienced. And the results, I understand, has been very good. I mean, the villagers are happy. And the fact we're happy with her performance and her contribution.
Yeah.
Why wasn't she recommended?
Come on.
And then she was not recommended in a position all of which has been filled by now.
Yes.
So it is not a situation where you could say, well, all right, she was not appointed to act, because all those positions, Brother Steve, are acting positions.
Positions.
And we want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Nobody has been appointed permanently in those positions. So all these are acting positions.
Yeah.
But the fact is, no recommendation was made on her behalf to the relevant authority for her to be considered.
But she's an eligible candidate.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you understand?
So she should be recommended.
Something is wrong. That cannot be fair.
Cannot be fair.
Now here, they are requesting an audience. At least go and listen to
what
them.
they have to say.
Find out what they have to say. But I see at the end of the day, we have to understand we are not too high to come down.
Yeah.
And that is what make people build confidence in you.
Yeah.
When you are able to get down from where you are,
yes,
to come down to their level and to listen to them. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you're going to agree with everything they say, but at least you give them a listening ear. So I want to say publicly, Brother Steve, that I believe we have to work together with the DAT on that matter. Mm-hmm. Sometime tomorrow, I'll be making a call to the president of the DAT and see, what information that I have that I can share with them, and how the matter can be dealt with, without they thinking that the PSU
is trying
to take over. But I think as two unions representing the interest of public officers, we have to
work together, collaborate on this one.
There must be dialogue, and we have to collaborate on this one. So tomorrow, Brother President of the DAT, I'll be making a call and we'll be talking. But our statement was because, as I said, there are certain things I'm aware of, Brother Steve, that a lot of people are not aware. So I just felt that it was necessary for us to issue a very, very brief statement. It wasn't long, but a very brief statement. And in that statement, we expressed our support. So I hope everyone understands what we're doing. Let's take our overseas line, Brother Steve. Good evening, caller. Thank you for calling.
Brother, thanks me again.
Okay.
Brother, I hear you talking about Syria. What's the purpose of countries having bilateral relationship or diplomatic ties with other countries? And most time is to exchange culture or education or health or area, the person are strong in or the country are strong in or what they have to offer in that aspect.
Mutual benefits. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, but Brother, Dominica has bilateral relationship with over 100+ countries, Right? And to me that is enough, friends, because that's the first time I'm going to say that's a good thing you do, because I was looking for something good to say about Roosevelt Skerrit administration, and I find one, so that's good. Because it's better to have friends than enemies. Mm. But when you have 100 and something plus countries, you have to have something to exchange, trade, because we have our strong point. Every country have where they are strong. Like for us, is agriculture, is water, land and soil. Brother, later I have Brother Steve talk about the farin and
cassava,
the cassava and Toloma industry in Dominica.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm a truck driver, so sometimes I'll pick up a load of apples and take it to a plant where they make baby food. Koya, I think Koya, that's the name of the brand or something like that, or blend with a little bit. But it's baby food. Mm-hmm. That's what it is,
I think it's Koya.
And I'm thinking of Louis, we have enough Toloma, enough farin, enough cassava in Dominica to make the banana. But we can't even sell baby food to these people. What we have is to exchange. Mm-hmm. What we have to bring foreign, that foreign money in Dominica, all our money going out in chicken, in food, everything coming in, so we have to pay for everything, but we are not selling, we are not trading anything, so we could. Brother Letter, I think something is definitely wrong with us in Dominica, because right now everybody wants to blame Roosevelt Skerrit, but Roosevelt Skerrit alone cannot do that damage I see happening to Dominica. There are too many people supporting it, know it's wrong, know we can do better, and they are settling for that. So sometimes I wouldn't give him he alone all the blame. There are a lot of people are wrong him, one maybe because of greed. Because take for example Syria. Syria, I just hear it on the news today. Syria going to send 16,000 mercenaries to Ukraine to make matters worse, brother. Later.
Very good.
I'm not even talking about our passport, our citizenship selling to Syria, where you know it's Hezbollah that run in Syria. But at that time, the world is in a crisis. Everybody is upset with Putin, and you telling me you're going to set up diplomatic relationship with a country that's going to provide 16,000 mercenaries to help Putin to kill the people of Ukraine. Brother, let us
Innocent
something
people.
that doesn't make sense.
Innocent
That,
people.
and I hear another person say it's not Roosevelt Scary that controlling the affairs of Dominic or his brother. Let us something doesn't add up. Because he has a lot of money. I don't believe, I know he greedy, but I know he has a lot of money. So a few more passports. I don't miss something other than that. At this time, the world is in a crisis. You have a rogue government like Syria, poisoning people. How can everybody, and you're going to form diplomatic ties with Syria and announcing they're going to send 16,000 mercenaries to help Putin?
This is why we ask.
I think we're in a lot of trouble in that. So now they're going to put more focus on Dominica and our citizenship program. And Dominica now hold it just under the microscope. No,
attracting the wrong attention.
That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm listening.
Thanks for that.
Yes, very good point.
Attracting the wrong attention.
Wrong timing.
Wrong timing.
To
Wrong
establish
attention
relationship
at this time.
with
Syria.
Wrong. And I think we need to review this thing and say to Syria, yes, we have established that kind of diplomatic relationship with you, but after reviewing that decision that we want to end that kind of relationship, or to withdraw, we need to do that. Because yes, the fact that Syria continues to be what it is, and the leader of Syria and Putin, to me, are two of the same kind. It means that more eyes will be focused on Dominica.
Correct.
More eyes will be focused on the CBI program. And it can affect our relationship. While certain countries may not want to say that we are ending, and I don't think they will do that, and end relationship with us. But they will make things a little more, even more difficult, because you could have relationship with a country, and for whatever reason, some of your economic programs and what have you, they make it harder for your people to come to their countries. So that is something I believe, Brother Steve, that need to be looked at. But we have about 30 more minutes, and the lines are lighting up. So let us take this one. Caller, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Mr. Letter and Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Can you remember the name of the Prime Minister that was in there before me and Motley? What was his name again?
Oh,
in Barbados.
In Barbados,
what's his name?
Oh boy, the name is coming.
I will find it for you now.
Okay, the same day that man was going to be sworn in. You know, prime ministers from around the country, Caribbean, and so on.
Fuendel, something so.
I can't remember his name.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Scarrett was the first prime minister from the Caribbean that was sitting up front. And I can remember hearing Scarrett promising to send produce from Dominica to Barbados. Have a grain of fig ever reach Barbados? Scarrett cannot lie. If they say he lied, that one he cannot deny. I looking at Scarrett right now, sitting down on the left side of that bench there, here there and saying what they're going to send up to Barbados. Up to a day like today, a grain of fig have left Dominica yet to go Barbados through Roosevelt Carrot and his Ministry of Agriculture. Have a good night, gentlemen.
But St. Vincent farmers are dominating the market in Barbados.
That's correct.
Yeah, when you walk on that little bridge, you just see that little bridge from the bus terminal, Brother Steve, and the people all along the roadside, and they are selling the agricultural thing. It's not like here they try to run the vendors away from the roadside. In Barbados, people are selling on the roadside.
All over.
You know what I mean?
Yes. They encourage that.
Yeah, they encourage it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I've made up my mind to live in memory.
We want to say hello to Gregory Antoine, who is watching us.
Sometime.
He says he always listens.
It's useless to say.
Caller, thank you for calling. Good evening to you.
Dr. Stephen, Dr. Scarrett say he going to cover the market. If a heavy rain falling, everybody going to run and shelter and leave their produce outside. Up now, you haven't done nothing yet. But the second time I'm going to go to the Lord. I listen to now.
All right, caller. Caller, good evening. Thanks for calling.
Yes, it's me.
Okay.
It's Mr. Lecter and Mr. Josie.
Yes.
If you realize, Ralph Gonzalez is Kerry's friend, but he's wiser than him. He doesn't do as bad as he's doing Dominica.
Right.
Yes, Gonzalez is getting problems with people. They always in protest on whatever. But he's looking about his country. Look at what he didn't put himself in that CBI problem.
And he built an international airport, yeah?
Right, and he come to Dominica and tell Kerry he doesn't need no airport.
It was Carrot or Pierre Charles? I think it was I think it was Pierre Charles.
2003, yes.
And he went up, he built his own.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
Yes.
Gonzalez is still better than him. He's the worst. And remember, I tell you that Putin's all about. Thank you.
Okay. And Gonzalez boast that he has been able to do whatever he's doing for St. Vincent without selling passports,
Correct.
He has said so,
Of course.
He's not part of that program.
Yes.
Or St. Vincent is not part of that program.
Yeah. But there's a conversation that needs to be had, because I don't think it's just to focus on one sector. It is a very comprehensive approach as to how we capitalize on the resources available to us. I've always said, agriculture cannot do without trade, and trade cannot do without agriculture. We have to assess what markets we have, and we have to then work with farmers to exploit the resources and the land space that we have, to focus on a niche that we have a market for, regionally and internationally. And then for us to empower agencies like Dexia and to empower the Bureau of Standards to raise the standard of our products and our packaging so that we can sustain those markets across the region and across the world. But if you're doing things disjointed, or you're just doing things too short, too flamma, it's not coordinated, it's not integrated, it is not part of a very well thought out program and well thought out plan based on a vision, and you harness the best minds and the best resources, whether it's part of your government or not, you harness those minds and those resources to get your products out there. We're in trouble. We keep going in that cycle of having a legal consultation to make news, and then we're back to square one, because we are not honest with what needs to happen to move the process.
When the consultation is over, we forget everything. Everything that was said.
We made the news and then we move on.
And that is it. Yeah. And not only make news, it makes the headline.
It makes the headlines.
And a few months after, And that is why I totally agree with one of our callers who said, what we should have is some national plan, some national program where any government, whether it's one that remains in power, whether it's a new administration coming in, can implement those things. But then that can only happen, Brother Steve, when you have input from everybody. And that is why I'm saying a lot of people who we see as not supporting the government and so on. But I see one of the things I would be so happy about is if I hear of an opportunity where these people are invited to come in and make some...
On a matter like that, you could even hear from the leader of the opposition.
Exactly.
Invite him to the consultation.
Exactly. You invite all these people to the consultation. You send them personal invitations.
Trade union, civil society.
Because as you said, a lot of these people who we want to cast aside, these people are great sons and daughters of Dominica.
That's correct.
And some of the people who want to push them on the side, they are older than these people. They have contributed significantly over the years. And right now, when you should be tapping on your experiences, when we should be tapping on their skills, we have decided to push them aside.
Of course.
But let's see if these things cannot be right. But let me pause and take this caller. Caller, good evening. Thank you for calling.
A question for you and Steve. If you have your wife and your family, but you're drinking rum every time, you party and you're running woman, who is going to suffer on the long run?
You?
Your family.
You and your family.
You and your family. Your family.
No, but you don't care.
You don't care.
It is the family.
Your family. Your family.
Because you having fun, you don't see you throwing your life away.
True.
This administration is like that man who have a good job. He come home, he give his wife pennies. The children are begging, Daddy, remember the school book. Yes, man, I send an order, it don't never come. Daddy, my shoes busting. Don't worry, I place an order by Mr. Later, and you have to bring the shoes.
Yes.
That is exactly how that administration runs. And Steve said it, They are not sincere.
That's right.
They are not honest because they can make a big show and dance to make headline, not just news, according to Steve.
Headlines.
You remember one politician said we have foul memory.
Yeah.
Domination memory pool, and they think they're going to. You can fool the people sometimes, but you cannot fool all the people all the time.
Correct.
They have to come up, They have to rise up, Labor rights, UWP rights, NJAM rights, freedom, non-dom. Everybody have to rise up against all you. I don't think 79 was easy, or you will see.
Caller, good evening. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Good evening, caller. Okay, but let's see if something seems to be
that line.
Not right with that line. Let's take this one. Okay, let's take the overseas line. Let's try the caller. Good evening. Thank you for calling.
What's up, Mr. Lita?
We are good. We are doing good. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Lita, I don't want to talk about passport. I don't want to talk about who go there and who don't go there. Mr. Lita, sorry for drifting a little, but I just want to call on the Prime Minister because I didn't get a stimulus, neither to get stimulus. Mr. Lita, I don't know if you can help me, but I'm calling on the Prime Minister and the PAL Rep Melissa. Please, the way that you all are fixing the road is not right. Stone to green, and it's not Baba Green. In my young days,
which road?
I saw Baba Green from Russian Tompkins, and the roller was shaking my grandmother's house. Right now, it's just nonsense I do it. So if all the money that's flowing, to see what I'm saying there, I'm now calling on the Prime Minister. Give me my stimulus back. Give it to me back, Prime Minister. You took it. Give me my $50 extra I am paying in Indian revenue when I go and license my liquor bike. Give back the chauffeurs the $100 extra they paying to fix the road because you are not fixing the road properly and you have too much money forming the food and the children need a little bread and cacao. So please think of that. Instead you run over there and run there. Give us the money back. Everybody in a household that have a motor car should rise up and ask for their money back. Grow go in a hole. You all wicked souls, you're not saying nothing. Rise up, black people. Bye-bye.
Right. Overseas line, okay, the person went, so let's try this one. Caller, good evening, thanks for calling.
Good evening. Can you hear me clearly?
No, we're getting a feedback.
No, we're getting a feedback.
No.
No.
Try again.
Try again, caller, let's see. Caller, good evening, thank you for calling.
Mr. Good evening to you, good evening to your Steve, and good evening to all the
good evening.
hardworking men and women of Dominica. Mr. Letta, did you remember after Tropical Storm Maria when
Erica.
Roosevelt Skerrit-led administration invited all the opposition members to chat a way forward with regards to recovery of Dominica, etc.
Yeah.
Where Roosevelt Skerrit commended members of the opposition, in particular Lennox Linton, with his innovative, with his constructive thinking with regards to the way moving forward. A little after that, Mr. Linton, Roosevelt Skerrit was on the other radio station criticizing Lennox Linton and saying so many negative. I mean, we really don't know what to believe from this man, Mr. Linton. The only way forward for Dominica right now, even if you bring on all the different stakeholders to discuss the way forward, this government, they will listen to it and then they'll go back to the same nonsense that they're doing, because we know this is a government, better known as a cannot do it government, inept government. The only way forward for Dominica right now is to get rid of this incompetence. These guys, they are not ready. Dominica will continue to sink until this bunch of waste of time passport smugglers get out of office. Take care now, Mr. Later.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution. Let's see if someone is saying that we are like Noah.
Nowadays.
We are like in Noah days, man. That it is too late for them now. The flood
is already here.
I think we still have some hopes. There's still some.
You have to live in hope.
Yeah, you have to live in hope. We cannot throw in the towel and believe that it's all over. But let's try this caller again, or the same line. I don't know whether it's the same caller. Caller, good evening. Thank you for calling.
Good evening, Mr. Litter.
All right.
You hear me well?
Yes, very well. Thanks.
Yeah, this is the man himself.
Hi, how are you, my friend?
Right. Well, Mr. Litter, I celebrate my 61st birthday on Sunday.
Belated happy birthday greetings.
I lived the port since on the 13th, the 12th of March last year, last year. Mr. Later, I don't know what's happening in this country. My maturity for me still haven't completed. I'm 61 years old right now. Everything rise up in the country. I'm not working for a whole year. And you're telling me my money sit down at the port. You employ 34 new security, but my money cannot complete. Though you give me less than what I have to get. I work for 33 years. You give me 20 years because I work on the Dominica Port Authority, and the new person I'm working for is DASPER. At least everybody who leave the port, you're paying them by piece. Complete paying the people that going on to live at their home without a salary and depending on Social Security. This thing is hurting. I don't know if they want me to come down at the port to show myself. People say I get all my money, I relax, I don't make it noise. But not me alone. They have a lot of people down there that retire and don't get a cent as yet. Where is the money that the port is making for when you pension? Because when I was in charge of getting that same fee from the agents of the boat, they used to pay us in full. They never give us money by piece. Now you have everything in your hand. The money not sharing. Where is the pension fund for the port workers and other workers that working at the port? And if the port don't have money, let the Prime Minister give you money to pay pensioners. You can
at least borrow the money somewhere.
Yeah.
I agree.
But he had enough money to borrow the Prime Minister certain years ago. So borrow
no employee should wait a whole year for their benefits. Yeah.
The pensioners their money. And it's long overdue now.
Yes,
I'm 61 years. Pay me my balance of my money.
Of course. You're right.
Anyway, thank you very much. Put something in place for that.
Yeah, yes. I mean, that is a good point.
Fair comment.
But let's see if somebody is fully employed.
Right.
They get a salary. From the time you become a pensioner,
yes,
that income
should come
is significantly
reduced.
Right. No matter what.
Exactly.
Even if you end up being paid a very high pension by the Social Security, but when you compare the pension to your salary, it cannot be close to the salary that you were getting.
Absolutely not.
So put things in place. You have the ages of all the people. You know exactly years in advance
when they will retire.
When they will retire.
You have to budget it.
You have to budget it.
Yeah.
You have to put that in place. I understand. Yes, there may be certain things that may affect that, but at least you should have an active pension plan.
Of course.
Established, and every month or whatever it is, you put some money towards that thing. So even in instances where you may not be able to pay one lump sum,
right,
but at least the people will be getting something, and you can close that within the shortest possible time.
Yeah.
And I really do not know.
A whole year.
I really do not know.
A half. No.
A whole year.
No.
You have money for somebody and
you can't complete paying them at the time when they get in a reduced.
Maybe they're looking for a debt. Maybe they're looking for a debt collector to come and collect on behalf of these people.
It's unfair to the employees.
Boy, better see if the time is running.
I see that.
We only have 10 more minutes.
Yes.
So, is there anything that we did not touch on?
Well,
okay, but let's see. Just before, let me take that caller. Caller, good evening. Thanks for calling. Yes, dear.
We're not hearing you clearly, yeah?
We're not hearing you clearly at all. Try again. Let me see. Just go ahead. Let's see, were you able to pick up anything she said?
No. You really have to try another line or call
Try
back.
another line. We have a number of lines, 4493-095, 4493-096, and 4493-097. So try one of these, because we are hearing you, but it's not clear. Okay, my dear.
Yes.
Yeah,
brother. I wanted to state that, we have to make the linkages, because while we're talking about the economy, it is within that framework that any government will be able to afford to pay public officers higher scale salaries, but more importantly, to offer quality public services. But a number of health centers are going up across the country, and we're using some of the CBI money to do that, yes. But we need to question, how will that contribute to enhance health care in Dominica? Because you have to provide quality equipment. You have to provide quality staff to ensure that those health centers have the human resource, have access to professionals, that is, professionals are paid well, that you don't have to go Roseau to do a basic scan, that there are some services that can be offered in Portsmouth and Roseau and Granby and La Plaine, and it's not enough to put down the plant without significant consideration as to how you improve the service to citizens. And yes, the plant is important, but I do not want to hear a boastful announcement about we build 10 health centers. I want to hear how healthcare has been enhanced as a result of that investment. So we have to make the linkages that a buoyant economy should ensure that we can afford to provide high quality public services to our citizens, and to be able to ensure that public officers are well remunerated, so that they don't have to run away and offer their services elsewhere.
But let's see, a country cannot be run. I agree with you. You're correct. You made a point earlier on. I think it was you. I can't remember. There's a call about two show, two flam.
I made the point. Yes.
Yeah.
Two show, two
you
flam.
Cannot
putting our eggs in
right.
all
You
baskets.
cannot put. We cannot put all our eggs in one basket.
That's right.
Which is what has happened to us over the past few years, where we saw a lot of money coming from the CBI programs.
That's it.
And then we relied on the CBI. And we're on the revenue derived from CBI. And we failed to invest some of that CBI money in areas that could be sustainable. And where, so our, and you know, one of the callers said, Brother Steve, that you put a plant, I can't remember which, I think avocado.
Yes.
And in 5 years, you have avocado.
This is 3 years.
And Brother Steve, that goes for a lot.
That's right.
Of stuff. Even coconuts.
Coconuts.
In 4 years, you start harvesting coconuts.
I planted after marriage.
I have seen coconut beer for me in 3 years.
Of course. I am drinking coconut.
But Steve, I remember, people might not believe me. I remember where I had gotten some citrus plants.
Yeah.
I planted the citrus plant this year, and the following year
you had citrus.
I had citrus,
of course.
And you could ask my brother.
I have that experience.
We could not believe how that thing happened.
Yeah.
This year and next year. Those things were bearing.
1 year time.
1 year time. Yeah. I do not know what special thing was in them.
Yeah.
But they were bearing. You know, I have a nutmeg tree that was shaken by the winds of Maria.
Right.
And last week I was able to harvest my first couple nutmegs, you know. So these things harvest very quickly.
Yes.
But what plan is in place? It's not a matter of agriculture.
Yeah.
You have to have a plan. The plan is we are going to have a citrus rehabilitation, a coconut rehabilitation,
that's right,
or whatever it is. You identify.
It must be administered fairly.
Yes, well, I'm coming to that.
Yeah, it must be.
You look at the areas. You decide how many of those plants.
Yeah.
And you know exactly how long. Do you know what period it's going to take for you to start harvesting? But you begin to think of putting an agro-processing plant in place. So by the time you start having a lot of citrus and so on, those things will not go to waste. That is how we have to plan. Of course. It cannot just become overnight, come up with something, make some statement. As you said,
it has to be an integrated thing.
Especially on certain radio program, that is a headline. And so because nothing else can be headline except some of those things. So on certain radios, that must make headline.
That's it.
What was said by so and so.
That's all.
And you cannot go and put something else as headline. Somebody might lose your job. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
And these are the things that we are talking about. What plans do we have in place? So, and you made a very good point. You talk about agriculture. It is linked to trade. It is linked to tourism and to everything.
Of course.
Well, you know, but Steve, I am at pain trying to think of what is going to happen to our young people in the next few years, their future. Because there is no way, Brother Steve, the opportunity that we had where we were able to purchase a piece of land while we're in our 20s, build our own houses while we're still 20 in our 20s, Brother Steve.
Some of them in trouble.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of them will never be able
to do that. Yeah.
So you know what you're going to have? You're going to find yourself in a situation where people are going to remain at their parents' home over longer periods than now.
But I made the point about administering those programs fairly because right now I want to put down maybe about 50 pear trees. Right now, I would love to put down in the soil maybe another 50 citrus trees. But guess what? When those plants are almost ready, it's one set of Dominicans that can get them.
Yep.
All right? So you go to the propagation areas and you said, you have any pears? No. It's reserved for so-and-so. Or so-and-so pass and take 200-300. And you as the farmer that want to access 20 plants cannot get 20 plants.
But see, I was shocked.
And that is the reality.
I was shocked when I met a guy last week.
That is the reality.
And he told me he was called to come and receive 25 citrus plants.
Yes.
I need citrus plants.
But I'm telling you.
I need citrus plants.
I'm telling you.
But nobody will call me and nobody will give.
So it's
to
one
me.
thing to have the
Yeah,
plan
yeah,
and put the programs in. If they are not administered fairly, then you're going to end up with some of the same results.
Okay, well, Brother Steve,
That's where we
I
end.
think that's where we end for this evening. I will be back, God's willing, next week. Brother Steve, you know, I'll be missing a few programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but the program will still go on. But that is not now. That is
Good evening, all. Thanks for joining us.
time. So, thank you,
My Auntie
everyone.
Maggie, I see you watching from the States.
All right, so.